Hi. Hi, hi, hi. Come inside. One of the main reasons why. Yes. Yes. Okay. Looks like everybody came in one lift. Oh, really? I thought one lift came up. Hi, hi, hi. Very good. How are you? Nice to see you. Hi.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Welcome again here to HIPAA, and I wish today it will be a little bit more interesting than any other lecture. Actually, Brett Florence here is a wedding photographer, but he suggests the subject is very interesting for each photographer is how to market your photography. And I think it is really one of the best or most important topics we are offering here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, as usual, or for the people who are attending our lectures for the first time, this lecture is sponsored by Nikon, and it will take about 3 hours. We will have one break, about 15 minutes, and it will be between 7 to 7:15 for people who wish to pray. For gents, proceed to the ground floor for prayer, and for ladies, there is a room next to the reception you can pray. Please remember your registration number, to make it easy for us to get your certificate. And don't forget, you can share also our YouTube link, because the whole lecture here is live streamed for people who couldn't make it to be here. Enjoy the lecture, and thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much to HIPAA for inviting me. It really is an incredible honor, and as always, the Emirati hospitality is absolutely fantastic. I always feel so welcome when I come and speak here in Dubai. You have a wonderful country, and it's really good to be here. And I think what HIPAA is doing for photography, not only in the UAE, but in the entire region, is incredible. So thank you. Keep up the good work. Us photographers really appreciate it. So please understand that we are very, very grateful for all the effort that you put in. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brett Florence. I am a professional wedding photographer and commercial photographer. I shoot a lot of fashion as well. And I'm here tonight to talk to you about marketing for photographers. Primarily, I work in the wedding industry. So a lot of what I'm going to talk about tonight does tend to have a bias towards weddings. However, all of the concepts that we're going to speak about tonight can be implemented in terms of other genres of photography as well. So if you don't shoot weddings, if you don't ever want to shoot weddings, I still hope that you will find value here tonight.
I think maybe you think you know a lot, but when you come here, you think, oh, maybe I didn't know that much.
Understand that you have to implement business principles into your wedding photography business, because it's not all just fun and games.
It's a bit sort of like, you know, Brett Florin's Uncovered type thing.
I've been on quite a lot of courses, but this one has been quite intense in terms of the amount that you've learned from it.
And we've already had a good mix, both of kind of more philosophical and theoretical stuff, and lots of practical shooting as well.
He's really funny, he's engaging, he's very open, which is quite unusual, I found, for courses.
So as I said, it was a mind-opening, the way he thinks, and he's been very honest, and that's what I love also. He tells you his secrets.
Whatever level you're at, if you're a beginner or if you've shot a lot of weddings, it's going to work for you.
You either do it for free or you do it at full price. Discounts are permanent, but you need to decide what's going to resonate with your target market. Because if you market yourself to the industry is going to be around a lot longer than the bride.
Okay, so let's get the important stuff out the way. I need some followers, people. Please. You know what it's like. This day and age, it's about how many followers you have. So please, Facebook and Instagram. I don't care too much about Twitter. For me, Facebook and Instagram. Preferably, as you know, in the UAE, it's all about Instagram. And I have a competition going on with my son, so I'm not going to tell you his Instagram handle. But we need to get more likes or more followers than my son. So please follow me on Facebook and on Instagram. Thank you. Fantastic. 7,398. Okay, so I need to give you a little bit of background into me and how I started photography so that you can understand the way that I think. I wasn't born creative. I didn't have any photographic inclination whatsoever. I grew up in South Africa during apartheid, and at the end of my schooling career, we had conscription, where is forced military service, where all white males had to go to the army or to the police force. And I went off to the police force, and I was a policeman. This is me when I was 18 in the townships in South Africa, having a lot of fun. You can see that we worked under quite trying conditions. There was a lot of violence around the early 90s. Well, there was a lot of violence leading up to the 90s, but I started as a policeman in 1990. And we worked in very trying and difficult conditions, a lot of politically motivated crimes and township violence, a lot of bloodshed. It could have been a lot worse. Fortunately, Nelson Mandela steered the ship through troubled waters, and we ended up being the Rainbow Nation, having transitioned from apartheid through to democracy. Now, whilst I was a policeman, the forensic photographers from the city didn't want to go and work in the townships because it was too dangerous, and we were getting paid danger pay anyway to be in the townships. So they decided to start a photographic unit within the riot unit. So it was a subdivision of the riot unit. And they had us on parade one day, and this is how fortuitous it was for me that on that day we were working shifts, so there's 4 different shifts, and on that day I was on duty, and the captain said, "We are looking for photographers. Who wants to be a photographer?" And nobody volunteered. Because if you're gathering evidence, then you're a target, and you could be taking photographs of your colleagues doing things that maybe they were a little bit too enthusiastic in their duties, so you're not going to be friends with them either. So nobody volunteered. And then the captain said, "Come on, guys, you get your own car." Yeah, that's cool, I'll do that. And that's how I became a photographer. They gave me a small little point-and-shoot camera. Well, it felt like a small little point-and-shoot camera. Obviously, we were still shooting film back in those days. And I went about documenting crime scenes. This is the kind of stuff that I would be photographing. Obviously, in this environment, I can't show you the worst of the worst because it was absolutely terrible, and we are streaming online, so I can't really be showing the most terrible photographs and the most terrible scenes that I have ever seen in my life. Just to give you some sort of idea, this one over here on the left is a vehicle that was intercepted by us coming over the Mozambican border into South Africa. They were bringing AK-47s and grenades and ammunition over the border into South Africa. And thinking about it now, probably not the wisest idea to be hovering over limpet mines and hand grenades with an angle grinder. But when you're 22 or 23, you do think you're immortal, and we're still here today. So fortunately, nothing went wrong there. This is a very, very sad story over here. This guy over here, 18 years old, went to police college, police academy for 6 months, and booked on duty for his first day at work. He booked on duty at 6:30 in the morning, and at 6:45 was called out to an armed robbery and was shot dead at an armed robbery by the criminals. He worked for 15 minutes. Now, as I tell you that story now, my whole body goes numb. It's a terrible situation. His family obviously are still missing him when it's, you know, nearly 30 years ago. But for me, it was the first time that I saw my work in print in a newspaper, and I was on the front page. And I thought, this is cool. I really enjoy the photographic side of things and being validated in print. Because I think as artists, well, I'm considering myself an artist now, but as human beings, we like to be validated. We like other people to tell us that we're doing a good job. You know, it's a driving force in most of us. So for me to be validated by having a picture in the newspaper was really, really cool. And then I started to think about the hustle. I started to think about, hold on, I see a lot of these scenes, and I come across a lot of these incidents. So what I did was I bought my own film, and when I got to a scene, I would shoot my own images, and then I would shoot the evidence shots for the police. And I would be selling the other images to the newspapers. So that's how the hustle started, and I started making money doing that, and I realized that if I depended on that money, I wouldn't ever be able to leave the police force. If I got used to that lifestyle of having additional income coming in from the newspapers and my police salary, I wasn't really going to leave the police force. So all the money that I was paid to from the newspapers and the press, I used to buy more gear. And like I said, I started off with a tiny little point and shoot. And then one day there was a journalist by the name of Mark Peters. He said to me, "Why are you shooting with that terrible camera?" I said, "Well, that's what That's what the state gave me. That's what I've been given to shoot with. So he said to me, no, here, have one of these. And he was giving me one of his old cameras, a Nikon F3, with the film winding on with the film. And he gave me a 135mm portrait lens and a 55mm macro lens, aperture on the outside, manual focus. It was really, really old school, but that for me was so tactile, and it really made me feel like a photographer. Eventually, 5 or 6 years later, I started photographing for friends and family, because everybody knew that, Brett's the photographer. He knows how to take a photograph of a riot, so maybe he can take pictures at my wedding. It's kind of the same thing. So I ended up shooting for friends and family, and this was the very, very first wedding that I shot. Sergeant Spies, lovely guy. He was a friend of mine. We were colleagues. Now, tonight might seem a little bit backwards to you, or it might seem a little bit unconventional, but I'm going to talk to you about marketing your brand and looking at photography from a business perspective. Now, the way I started was a little bit unconventional, but the way I started making money is probably similar to a lot of people. You are known as the photographer, so people, friends and family and colleagues ask you to do certain functions for them. It could be birthday parties, it could be modeling portfolios, it could be anything. But you start shooting for friends and family. Now, the problem with shooting for friends and family is that generally you surround yourself with people like you. You go to the same types of restaurants, you watch the same types of movies, you wear the same type of fragrance, you read the same kind of books. And that's all fair and well. But the problem when it comes to business, that if you are shooting for friends and family who are like you, they don't have money either. You need to target people with more money than yourself. And it's difficult because it's an easy market to enter because you know how they think. They think like you. So all your marketing has to be done to you. If you look at a picture and you like it, probably your friends and family will like it, which means you have a target market. But it's the wrong target market. Now, I have wonderful friends and family, but they can't afford me. I can't afford me. If you can afford yourself, then you're too cheap. And just think about that. Think about how much you charge now for whatever you do. And if you can afford it, you need to lift your game. Because in this day and age, all the photographers are fishing in the same pond, and the fish are just getting smaller and smaller. You need to understand that there is a better market, not better people, a better market in terms of business, but it does take effort to get to that market. Your marketing strategy is going to have to change. Your brand is going to have to change. And your product and your service is going to have to resonate with a higher target market. Now, I'm not expecting everybody to target the highest target market possible. I'm just saying that on an income scale of, say, 0 to 10, if currently you are a 5, then aim for a 7. If you are a 6, aim for an 8. If you are a 3, aim for 5. Just aim for a target market that is elevated, that is higher than your target market. And it's not because your target market are bad people. It's just because there are so many photographers that are diluting the market that you cannot make money there anymore. So, to carry on with my story, this is what I did. I started shooting for friends and family, and I did set a precedent, because once you shoot for friends and family, they like what you do, and obviously they tell their friends and family who are the same type of people, and that's where your market comes from. That's how you start work. So I left the police force eventually and opened up a small little studio, and to cut a very long story short, I started shooting clothing catalogs for the surfwear industry in Durban. Now, Roxy was one of my first clients. It's the sister brand to Quicksilver. So I started shooting for Roxy, really just the clothing catalogs. And because I did a good job for them, then Quicksilver asked me to start shooting for them. And then the ball starts to get rolling. Because once you start getting brand legitimacy shooting for known brands, then you're going to get jobs such as this one here for Under Armour. And then eventually, the best brand on the planet is going to take notice, and they're going to also, ask you to do shoots for them, promotions for them, research and development, and I'm so lucky to have been a Nikon brand ambassador for 11 years so far. At a lot of the offices, I've been with Nikon longer than the people that are working there at the moment. So it's really cool for me to be associated with this brand, and also for Nikon to trust me with their brand, because I think it's quite a responsibility, and it's a bit of a gamble, because Nikon can't really control what I say. So I think it's really nice for me to be in that position. So that's the background story to me in terms of how I got introduced into photography. What I want you to know and understand is I think the reason that I'm successful is not because I'm a great photographer. It's because my marketing and my brand is strong enough for me to get clients. You've heard about all the famous artists that died poor. Vincent van Gogh, Vincent van Gogh. He sold one painting while he was alive. So you could be the greatest photographer on the planet, but if your marketing's not very good, it doesn't really matter. You've got no clients. You could be an average photographer with great marketing, and you're doing well, and you're successful. So one of the questions that I get asked is, what makes a successful wedding photographer, or any photographer for that matter? And I believe that there are three elements to becoming a successful photographer. The brand, that is you, your product, and your service. Now, in terms of your product and your service, your product can be replicated. I can learn how to shoot like you. You can learn how to shoot like me. We can go print at the same printer. We can use the same album design software, and we can eventually give the client exactly the same product. Then you have service. Service could be the same thing as well. I could interact with the client exactly the same way you do. I could arrive at the same time. I could speak to them in the same way. And we can produce the same product with the same service. The thing that cannot be replicated is your brand, which essentially means that you have no competition if you do it correctly. If you try to be another photographer or some other mentor that you have, it's not going to work, because it's not going to be authentic. So I don't want you to try and be me. I don't want you to try and be Jasmine Star. I don't want you to try and be Jerry Gionis. I want you to listen to this lecture, take away the important bits that you want to take away from here, and implement it so that you amplify your personality and your brand, so that you create an authentic brand that resonates with your target market. If you think about something like service, let's take service as a separate entity here. There's a perception that service is about being fast. Now, service is not about being fast. Service is about successfully managing your client's emotional expectations. If you have to go to McDonald's and order a burger and fries, Happy Meal, you're going to go get a Happy Meal from McDonald's. How long does it take to get that Happy Meal? Anyone? 5 minutes. If that Happy Meal comes after 10 minutes, what are you thinking? This is bad service. This is terrible service. If you had to go to Gordon Ramsay's restaurant at Atlantis and order a lamb shank, How long do you think it's going to take? 40 minutes? 45 minutes? What if it came after 10 minutes? You're going to think it's a Happy Meal. You're going to think that they've just heated it up in the microwave, right? But McDonald's was faster. You now perceive that service to be bad, 10 minutes fast. Gordon Ramsay provides it for you in 10 minutes, and you also perceive that to be bad because it's too quick. So what are those restaurants really needing to do? What is their goal? To manage your emotional expectations. So if you think about a restaurant, high-end restaurant, you've ordered your lamb shank, you're expecting it within, say, 40 minutes or 45 minutes. After 20 minutes, the waiter comes up to your table, he just moves your knives and forks around, puts them back so that they're in order because you've been playing with them, right? And you maybe have been eating a little bit of bread, so he takes the brush and he cleans up around there, and he says, everything okay? We all good? Can I get you another drink? Okay, thank you, and off he goes. He hasn't really done anything. All he's done is let you know, I'm still taking care of you. You're still in my thought process. I'm looking after you. I'll be back in a sec. That lamb shank was made this afternoon at 2 o'clock. If they wanted to, they could get it to you and put it right in front of you in 10 minutes. But going to Gordon Ramsay's is not about getting your food fast, eating, and getting out of there. It's about the entire experience. So you need to implement that in your photography. That you are not selling photographs. You are selling an emotional experience, especially when it comes to weddings. Weddings are the most emotionally valuable events of anyone's life until you have children. And then you have teenage children, and then it's a whole other story. Yes. I won't repeat that. Okay, so you have to understand that service and product can be replicated, but your brand cannot be replicated. Now, this afternoon, I very quickly, I was in the Dubai Mall this afternoon, and it reminded me of a story, and I found some pictures of when my wife and I were here, and we went not shopping, we went to the Dubai Mall for an emotional experience. We're walking into a store, and there's a cute pair of shoes on this beautiful black display stand. They're like that. Now, how much money in dirham, how much money do you think those shoes cost? That's not the question. 150. All right, let's just say 150. 150, okay? So I went in there and I said, my wife was saying, oh, she really likes these shoes. And I'm like, they've got shoes like that back home where we live. We can get them there. I'm sure they'll be much cheaper. She said, no, we're in Dubai. I need to buy some shoes here. So, okay. So I called the shop assistant over and I said, hi there. I'm just wondering if you've got these shoes in a size 5. And she said to me, yeah, of course. There they are over there. Now, how much do you think they cost? It's only brand perception. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that every photograph is the same, but you and I can take a really similar photograph. You might be able to sell it at a higher price than I do because of your brand value. Now, understanding it's the same photograph, but now you might have status attached to it. You have the emotional experience that you have provided your client with. So understanding that the brand matters. It's not images that we're selling. It's an emotional experience coupled with the brand. So I'm going to get a little bit psychological for the next sort of 10 or 15 minutes and talk about stuff that you might learn in a marketing school or a business school, and understand why certain brands are attractive to us. what makes our brand fascinating? Now, what I've done in the last 5 or 10 years is I've studied areas outside of photography, because I believe that you should master your craft as a photographer before you even tell people that you're a photographer and you go off and you do a job. So I believe that I still have lots to learn with the photography side of things, but I believe that I can hold my own when it comes to creating images. The challenge really comes in getting clients. That's really the tricky part. Once you've got the client, the rest is pretty much easy, but getting the client is the tricky part. So I studied and I put my energies a lot more into educating myself outside of my area of expertise. And one of the things that I came across was a thing called the Triggers of Fascination. Now, it's written by a lady called Sally Hogshead, and she has a site called How the World Sees You, and I think it's What Makes You Fascinating, but just go Triggers of Fascination, Google that, and you'll come across that. There's a really cool personality test that you can do for free on that site, and it tells you about your personality. Now, don't go and ask your friends and family, what do you think about my personality? Because they're just going to tell you that you're amazing and that you're so sweet and that you're so lovely and all of that. You want to hear elements of your personality that you can utilize in your marketing. So, the 7 triggers of fascination would be power, passion, prestige, mystique, alarm, rebellion, and trust. Now, I'm going to go through each one very, very quickly because I think that a lot of them are self-explanatory, so we don't have to go too deep into that. But just to give you a little bit of an overview, we'll start off with power. Now, power is somebody who's in a leadership role, somebody who is confident, goal-oriented, influential, opinionated, and decisive. Now, right now, some of you here might be much better photographers than me. Some of you might be much more successful photographers than me. But I'm the guy standing here. And I'm the guy talking to you about how I market my business. So technically, I'm in a role of power now. You ask me a question, and I give you an answer. It might be wrong, but it is an answer, and it is my opinion. And if you ask me something, to be in this position of power, I'm not really going to go, oh, well, I don't know, maybe I'll get back to you on that one. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give you a definitive answer because I need to amplify my role of being power in the front over here and being a leader. Passion. Now, a lot of photographers are very, very passionate about photography and about people and about life. Passionate people or passionate brands exude all of these traits. They're expressive, intuitive, impulsive, social, and transparent. You can see what they're thinking. They talk a lot. They like being around people. A lot of them are quite sensitive as well. So you've got passion as well. Then you've got prestige. That's really someone who is elevated in terms of the way they present themselves, the clothes that they wear, impeccable. If you look at it from a design perspective, if you think about Armani and Gucci and Prada, that's prestige. Those are brands that have fantastic fabrics, the best workmanship. Everything is the best it can possibly be. So prestige is an elevated trait to have, and they are admired and uncompromising when it comes to quality, and obviously super focused in making sure that everything is always the best it can possibly be. Then you have mystique. Mystique is someone who is generally regarded as quite shy, or someone who doesn't say too much, someone understated, a little bit complicated, rational. So if you ask them a question, they think about the answer before saying what they think. Whereas for me, I just speak. And sometimes I say things without being kind, and then you regret it later. But people with mystique would think about what they're going to say and then say it. And a lot of the times people with Mystique, they're the quiet ones just sitting in the corner. And when they offer their opinion, people take notice because they don't speak that often. And then, like I said, they are quite deliberate as well. They say basically only what they have to say, and it makes sense to them. Then you have alarm. Now, I always refer this to a football player in terms of somebody who doesn't like to lose. You know, you've got football players, you've got strikers, they love to win. Their job is to score goals. They love winning. Then you've got defenders. Their role is so that we don't lose. Their role is to make sure we don't let any goals in. Now, playing not to lose is very different to playing to win. So somebody with the alarm traits would be perfectionists, really reliable, routine-oriented. They would do the same thing every single time, not necessarily because it works, but because they know the outcome. And they don't want a different outcome. Very careful and very rational. They think about things. Then you have the rebel, unpredictable, innovative, independent, entrepreneurial. You never know what you're going to get with the rebel. Rebel, pretty much self-explanatory. And then you have trust. Trust is the guy next door or the girl next door. You feel comfortable with them. You feel like as you meet them, you've known them forever and you're going to be best friends. So understanding that these 7 triggers of fascination add to your brand or are a part of your brand in terms of 2 combinations of those traits. So you have your primary trigger of fascination and your secondary trigger of fascination. And when you combine those 2, that's what your brand exudes. Now, you can have different combinations, 60-40, 51-49, but generally you've got a primary trigger of fascination and then a secondary trigger of fascination. So, forget about your weaknesses. You don't want to work on your weaknesses so that you bring them up to the same level as your strength, because then you're kind of going to be in the middle, right? If your strengths are up here and your weaknesses are down here, just amplify your strengths to take it to the next level so that you actually polarize your followers. You want people who sort of liked you to absolutely love you. And the people that didn't like you, human nature, they're never going to like you, no matter what you do. I have people who don't like me. You have people who don't like you. It's not nice, but that's what life is about, right? You cannot be everything to everyone. So, when you combine your 2 best personality traits, you have 7 times 7, 49 possible combinations of what a brand can exude or what a person can exude. For example, I'm not going to go through all 49, but for example, trust and passion. That gives you a brand that has a sustainable attraction. You can be in business for a long time because you're continually going to be attractive to a certain demographic. Now, I'm not sure how many of you know a photographer by the name of Jasmine Star. She is trust and passion. When you see her, you feel like you want to be her friend. She's so passionate. She's like so excited. She's so happy. And you're drawn to that personality. And she will have, as long as she sticks to these, she will have a sustained attraction. Now, you have other brands as well, prestige and alarm. For example, let's take Prada, Gucci. Beautifully manufactured clothes, incredible workmanship, but in the store, there's hardly anything. There's 2 or 3 dresses or 2 or 3 suits. So that's building in the alarm. There aren't a lot of them. There's a lot of prestige, but there's a small supply. So that results in a heightened demand for luxury products. If we have a look at perfume advertising, this over here to me says prestige and trust. He looks like a nice guy. The prestige element is he's in a very expensive suit, in a very expensive room, with the right bow tie, the right cufflinks, the right haircut. So he's got prestige and trust. Now, prestige and trust gives you a brand that has timeless, fine living. That looks like he's grown up with money. It doesn't look like he just won the lottery and suddenly he's come across a whole lot of money. He looks like he's comfortable being wealthy. Now, this one here, Lady Gaga. Rebellion and mystique. You don't really know what's going on inside her head. I don't think she knows what's going on inside her head, unless it's all very carefully orchestrated as a marketing strategy. You've got rebellion and mystique. Rebellion and mystique sparks debate. She gets people talking. And that's what she does. What I have to look at is my business is, I've really got two businesses. One of the businesses, I target high-end weddings, luxury destination weddings. I photograph weddings for people with disposable income. The other business that I have is this. I speak to photographers, I have online training, I have books, I've got videos, I've got a whole lot of, I've got workshops that people attend. The way I market myself to my high-end wedding clients is different to the way I market myself to you. The way I market myself to you is power, because I'm over here. I'm regarded as an industry leader, and I haven't said that. Nikon has said that, which I'm very fortunate for them to do. They just need to say that once, and then I can, hang on to that tagline, because I think in 2008 they wrote a brochure, and there was a couple of pictures of mine that were in there, and they said, here are some pictures from some of the world's most influential photographers. I was like, bang, I'm holding on to that. So now whenever I write, I say, regarded by Nikon as one of the world's influential photographers. I didn't say it, they said it. So there's my validation and my power element. Then I have the trust element, where you can see that I'm approachable. You can come and chat to me, we'll talk about photography. Every single email that I've ever got from a follower, I always reply to. Every single Facebook message, every single Instagram message, it's me that replies to them. Now, it is tough. I get like 20 or 30 a day. It is tough, but my brand is power and trust. And I have to amplify that. So how do you amplify that? Now, I'm telling you all these things, and you're sitting there thinking, yeah, that's interesting. But when you leave here, you go, okay, well, what now? I want you to leave here with implementable tools that will change your business now. One of the ways that I emphasize or amplify power in my business as an educator to the photographic market, on Facebook, in a photography group, I posted this. Hi there. I'm looking for an assistant for a wedding in Durban on such and such a date. I'm looking for an assistant. You will be an assistant and not a second shooter, so all you're going to do is carry my bags. It will cost you 2,500 Rand. I don't know how much that is in dirham, but basically what I'm saying is you're going to pay to work for me. So this was the response by some of the other photographers. Oh, I'd love to meet this assistant. Haha, I feel sorry for the assistant who's actually prepared to pay. I've assisted some amazing photographers and they still pay me. Sorry, you're putting it a bit mildly if you think that this is arrogant. I don't care how much experience you have, you still need to, you would have to pay me double. Pages and pages of hate mail. I did this on purpose. I did this to amplify power. I had already written an article on how you can approach the assistant issue, because you see on Facebook all the time, I'm looking for an assistant for this date. If I had to put it on Facebook right now, I'm looking for an assistant in Dubai for a shoot that I'm doing tomorrow. Within 15 minutes, I'll have 100 people. Now, my thought process is, surely if there's 100 people that want to work for me for free, some of those are more hungry than others, which means that they're prepared to pay. I just have to have the courage to put myself out there and to amplify power. So I had already written this article 3 days before posting what I had just posted, and this was what I wrote. It's quite long and involved, so I'm just going to skim through it. Basically, I'm saying I thought about closing the post, but I think I'm going to use this as an opportunity for us all to learn and grow. I've seen an increased amount of people wanting to assist for free. Now, that begs the question, or it leads us on to a question of how do we look at assistance and how to pay assistance. Now, basically, you've got three options. Either you pay them. Now, if I need an assistant and I'm going to pay you, do you have to be a photographer? Not really. All I'm asking you to do is come and hold the reflector, and I can teach you very quickly how to put a light stand up and put a flash on top of a light. The rest is easy. I can say, right, you go and fetch this lens. My lenses are marked with the cap at the back. You just lift it up. It says 24 to 70 on the back. I just say, go and fetch a 24 to 70. You get it, right? You don't have to be a photographer, which means I could go and get a waiter, a university student. It doesn't really matter to me. So why do I need a photographer? If I do have a photographer coming along, what is their motive? They're coming to learn and to look and to... So they're not really focused on what I want them to do. They're focused on what they can get out of it. Or they work for free. So let's say you do get somebody to work for you for free. Now, a lot of the times those people are unreliable. The night before they'll phone you, or they don't even phone you, they don't arrive at the gig, and they say, oh, well, something else has come up, and unfortunately I can't make it. So unreliability. And then you have to also ask yourself the moral question, isn't that the same as slave labor anyway? Isn't it the same as if you're getting somebody to do something for you for nothing and you're not paying them, isn't that also a little bit arrogant or whatever? You know? So there's a moral question there as well. The third option is looking at it from a business perspective. The way I see it is that if there are so many people willing to work for you for free, if you've got a strong enough brand that other photographers are willing to pay you to work for them, you've got a product that you are selling. The product is you watch me work, you see me interact, you get the experience. Whilst we're sitting there at the reception, I'll talk to you about photography. I'm selling a product to a certain demographic. I had 17 people email me to say that they were willing to work for me for 2,500 Rand, which means that I was too cheap. I should have asked more money because I turned 16 people away. Here it is where I'm talking about what product I was offering, and I use the fashion photography analogy here because I really like fashion photography and I follow fashion photographers. But right now, if somebody like Nick Knight or Patrick Demarchelier, if my phone rang right now and said, I'm downstairs, I'm busy with a shoot, it's going to cost you $5,000 for you to carry my bags. As much as I'm enjoying this right now, I think I'd be downstairs and paying over that money as fast as I can. Because to learn from those people, for me, is incredible. I'm going to learn so much. Just as I have to understand that there are people who want to learn from me and are prepared to pay for that. Then I'll go to the restaurant analogy again and saying the Oyster Box, which is a 5-star hotel restaurant in Durban. If the Oyster Box is offering a New Year's Eve dinner or dance for 10,000 Rand, let's just call it $1,000. If they're having a New Year's Eve dinner for $1,000 and you think that's ridiculous or arrogant or preposterous that anyone can pay that for a meal, that's cool because you're not their target market. If they are full, it doesn't matter what you think because they are creating a product for a certain target market. Anyway, I said, well, I had a product to sell and I achieved my objective. That is business. Thank you very much. Here are the responses now after I wrote this part. Fantastic read, Brett. Thank you for this. I think he's a genius. Nailed it. Totally agree. 100% good insight. I agree with Brett. I spend many hours just listening and observing. Totally worth it if you're keen to learn how to shoot weddings. Brilliant concept. 3 or 4 pages. Not one negative comment. And where are all those people that were being so mean and ugly to me? They hate me even more. Every time they see my name, their skin crawls. But the people that were sitting on the fence, now they think, whoa, this guy's pretty smart. So what I did there, and to show you as an exercise, essentially what I did there was I amplified my trigger of fascination, my primary trigger of fascination, where I'm targeting photographers, which is power. And I did it in a way that I'm not bullying. I did it in a way to assert myself as a leader in the field by writing an article about this is how you treat assistants, or this is how you approach assistants. I'm going to move on now to marketing to the bride directly. But what I think we should do, it is almost a separate chapter. What I would like to do right now is just to take a few questions and answers for 5 minutes, and then we'll break for sunset prayer, and then we'll be back 15 minutes after that. So let's just take 5 minutes of questions and answers. I think we've got a microphone somewhere. Wonderful. And now that we've got a microphone, we need questions. Anybody got any questions? Any comments on what I'm talking about? Anything to say?
Thank you for telling us about this photography. I have one question. I got clients which are, like Emirati local girls. The problem is I don't know how to market. Because the ladies, they are not allowed to show their pictures on Instagram anywhere.
Sure.
So I'm little confused about these pictures, how I market them.
How you go? Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Obviously, so the question is, in the Emirati culture or the Arabic culture, you don't use people's images to market yourself. After prayers, I've got 5 or 6 different ways that you can market yourself, and 100% I know that at least 3 or 4 are going to work for you. You don't have to show your pictures to market yourself. So we will talk about that. This is really about the psychology of a brand, because as soon as you understand the psychology of a brand, now you can start marketing it. Because most photographers create a product and hope somebody's going to buy it. They're going out and they shoot stuff that they think people like or they like themselves, and then hope that they're going to get clients. Whereas the way I did it was I researched the market and I found out what was missing in the market, and I created a product to fill that gap. Now, I do understand the notion of people talking about fulfilling your own creative desires and needs, but for me this is work. It's a very nice job and I really enjoy doing it, but it's work. I create images that are attractive to a certain demographic, and that demographic isn't me. So in some cases, I might not even like the images that I'm producing. but I'm selling those images. If I want to produce images for myself, I can go off and do my own creative work and do stuff that my own personal projects. But I create work that fulfills a certain need in the marketplace. Any more questions on what we've spoken about just in the last hour? Yes, sir. Okay.
Hi, Brett.
Hi.
So you mentioned something about before going out there and saying that you are a photographer, that you need to master
Your craft, yes.
There's always this dilemma of how do you actually say that, yes, I'm ready, or I have the skills that allow me to go out there and say I'm a photographer. Because every time you, for example, talk about myself, every time I'm about to do that, I see something which is way more better.
I think you need to get to a certain level and then start selling your work or your craft. You know, I always look back and I think about a dentist. A dentist doesn't have an interest in people's teeth and then practice on clients and gives you a discount because, hey, I'm just starting out and can I use your teeth as my portfolio? It doesn't really work like that. He goes off and he studies for 6 or 7 years and he becomes a dentist. He becomes a better dentist with experience, but until a certain point where he feels confident or the state feels that he's fulfilled certain needs to become a dentist, he's not a dentist until he's achieved a certain level. Now, that certain level is different for everyone because photography has been democratized. There's no, you don't have to have a degree to go out and work. That's where self-regulation needs to come into it in a certain way. And the way I really look at it is the work that I'm putting out on my site or on my social media, if I can recreate that work under pressure at a real wedding, then I'm at the level that I need to be at. I cannot have stuff in my portfolio that I'm selling to the potential market and the potential market comes along and says, oh, these are fantastic, I'd like to book you for my wedding, and then on the wedding day comes and you just freak out because you did that at a workshop or you did that at home where you had no pressure or anything like that. So the ability to recreate what's on your site is paramount. I do believe that there's a certain level that you need to get to before, this practicing on clients thing is just, practice at home so that when you get to the gig, you know exactly what you're doing. I don't ever get to the gig and go, hey, I saw this technique on YouTube, I'm going to try it out on you. I try it out on my kids at home or my wife at home. And then on the day of the job, I know, and I would say, right, I've just learned about this fantastic new technique. It's amazing. Turn your head this way, put your chin this way, bang, yo, done. Now it looks like I'm a professional. Whereas if I'm going, I'm going to try something. I really don't know if it's going to work, but let's give it a go. You don't see the dentist doing that. The dentist, and the dentist going, right, I saw this on YouTube. Let's give it a go. So that's the problem with the industry, with it not being regulated. That there's no, okay, now you're a photographer, now get going. I think that needs to be self-regulated. Any other questions? One more question. Yes, sir. One more question, and then we're going to go for evening prayers. Sunset prayers, sorry. Hi.
Yeah, you said that there is a website where we will be able to understand what is our genre, the power and the trust and all those things. What is it like? Where can we go and how to find out?
It's called howtheworldseesyou.com. Howtheworldseesyou.com.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, let's break for prayers, and 15 minutes time we'll be back here. Oh, okay. So what, 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Problem is you can't sell that. Yeah. You've only been in 7 months. I would really consider adapting that now. Yeah. Because I'm 26 years in. Okay, guys, so understanding the psychology behind brands and what makes them fascinating is really the foundation for marketing. You have to understand what your brand means and what brand message you're trying to send out to the viewer. Now, when you are targeting the bride, generally we've got 4 avenues of marketing or advertising that we can advertise to the bride or the groom, to the couple. Print advertising in magazines, it is alive and well. There are so many photographers who are not advertising in print magazines anymore because they say it doesn't work. Now, the way I look at it, if I had to ask people here right now, how much does a bridal magazine cost? A nice, decent bridal magazine at a bookstore. How much does a bridal magazine cost? Right, 80 dirham. How much does a normal magazine cost? 5 or 10 dirham. Okay, so 80 dirham for a wedding magazine, 5 or 10 dirham for a normal magazine. Which means that rich people are buying magazines, the wedding magazines. Obviously, people with less disposable income might still buy them, but those magazines are targeting people with disposable income. They are targeting people of the affluent market that are willing to spend money on their weddings. So if I advertise in those magazines, I am going to reach the correct target market. Now, obviously, there are magazines that are targeting a middle market and a lower end market, but I'm going to choose a magazine to advertise in that resonates with my target market, the higher end luxury target market. Now, generally as photographers, we think that we know everything about our business. And a lot of the times, that is ego-driven. I take the pictures, I do the post-production, I'm a great web designer, I'm a great copywriter, I write my own blogs, I'm a, jack of all trades. You do everything in your business. Now, the way I work is I outsource everything that I'm not the best at. So I don't do my own post-production, and I never have, and I never ever want to. I would never have the time to be able to do what I do right here, right now, speaking to you. In the last month, I've shot 3 weddings, I've done 2 workshops, and a whole lot of families. I can't do that post-production effectively and then still be here at HEPA speaking to you. So I outsource what I'm not good at. People who say print advertising doesn't work, of course it's not going to work if you're going to place an ad like that in a bridal magazine. Because what message is that sending out? What triggers of fascination is that sending out? Just confusing, right? You've got so much information going on. You've got my phone number, my web address, my email address, my home address. See the website for more information. I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 pictures. Pricing to suit all budgets. What does pricing to suit all budgets mean? Cheap, okay? Preserving the memories of your special day. Now I think I'm a poet, and it's terrible. all sorts of different graphical elements. If I had to place that advert in a magazine, of course it's not going to work. Also, a lot of photographers take a quarter-page advert because they can't afford anything bigger. And when you take a quarter-page advert, when you open up the magazine to a double-page spread, that's what it's going to look like. That tiny little thing in the top left-hand corner. Of course, print advertising is not going to work if you do that. This is a double-page spread from a bridal magazine from London. Whoa, just so much information, so much going on. And what brand message are those brands sending out? Nothing. It's, do we have prestige? Do we have passion, alarm, trust, mystique, rebellion? No, there's nothing there. So, of course, they're not going to work. This one here, it's a double-page spread. I know that this costs £3,000 for a double-page spread. How much information is that? Whoa. You know, I think there's 7 different pricing options. We offer packages for all budgets and provide our photography too. Okay, I don't really know what that means, but can you see how it's like all over the place? There are 14 pictures over there. Now, I've crossed them out for reasons that I don't really want to get sued by anyone. But, you know, of course it's not going to work. I need to approach this from a business perspective, because these photographers have approached it from the perspective of, I'm paying £3,000 for this piece of paper. I'm going to put as much as I can in there and utilize everything that I can. Now, if you are going to target a middle income or a lower income group, yes, you are going to put a lot of information. So I look to the clothing industry, the fashion industry, and I look at how certain brands market themselves to their specific target market. This is a middle market brand in South Africa targeting a middle market, and you've got the prices, the sizes, size extra small to extra large, sizes 30 to 44, view our TV ad, graphic stuff going on, 3 different people there, targeting different demographics. There's a lot of information going on. They are targeting the middle market. How much information is there? Prada. 1 picture, that's it. 1 picture and the brand. So I take that information and I look at that and I go, okay, they're targeting a high-end market. I would like their clients. I'm going to present my advertising in a similar way so that I'm attracting the same target market. I don't need to go and pay companies to do market research to find out what's going to work. I know what's going to work. 1 picture with my name. So I take a double-page spread in a bridal magazine, and I go out and I specifically shoot an image that I want to use in my advertising. So this is a model in one of the best designer gowns. I've got one of the best florists to collaborate with me and the best hair and makeup artist. And brettflorence.com, photographer. Double-page spread, so it's telling people that I'm successful because I can afford a double-page spread. There's prestige involved over here, and there's alarm. So prestige and alarm gives you a brand that heightens the demand for luxury products, which means I'm going to be attractive to higher-end clients. That was 3 years ago. This was 2 years ago, and this was last year. When I did this one for last year, I've very specifically now decided I don't only want to target the higher end demographic, I want to target people that are planning destination weddings. So high-end destination weddings. That's my game right now. And I know, I know you guys here in the UAE, that's not really destination, that's your back garden. But to most people on the planet, that's destination, okay? And for them, they would love to have pictures in your back garden. If I take the same principles targeting my print advertising, and I now implement them into bridal shows. So I've spoken about print advertising, now we're going to talk about bridal shows. I know there's one coming up in Abu Dhabi soon. There was one in Dubai recently. Bridal shows where you've got your stand, and you're standing there, and clients come and you talk to your clients. Now, if I look at a shopping experience, walking around the Dubai Mall, this is from an image from a store in the UK called TK Maxx. I don't know if you have that here. You have that here? Or you don't know, you don't shop there. Okay, so basically you can see what it is. You can find a Hugo Boss pair of pants there. Trousers, sorry, for the Americans, pants or trousers. No, for the English, pants or trousers. For the Americans, pants or pants. But right here, if I had to go and look around, I could find a nice pair of Hugo Boss trousers. Is it a nice emotional experience? Not really, right? If I had to look at a clothing brand in South Africa called Mr. Price, well, first of all, the name says to you that it's not really high-end and exclusive. It's targeting a certain market. If you had to walk in there, you see all these shorts over there. You walk in, you think, it's a bit busy here, I haven't got much time, I'm going to come back tomorrow. Because you know that there's a pile there and a pile there and a pile there. There's lots to go around. So you know that there still will be some tomorrow. Let's look at that and then think about the experience when you walk in Fashion Avenue here in the Dubai Mall. That's what it looks like. Gucci, Louis Vuitton, another one from Gucci. There's hardly anything in the store. But you walk in and you just know this is expensive, it's beautifully made, and it's pretty much unique. You saw the images where there's just two garments hanging there. Now, there's the element of alarm, prestige and alarm. You know that if you don't buy that shirt today, or that dress today, or that coat today, chances are tomorrow it's not going to be there. It will be there. Because as soon as you buy it and walk out the store, the salesperson's gone to the back, taken out another one and replaced it. But the perception is that there are only two of each garments there. So they're building in those triggers of fascination, prestige, and alarm. So for those of you who say that bridal shows don't work, think about how you're putting your bridal show together. If it's something like this, whoa, so much information going on. If I had to ask you, if you can remember one of those pictures that you've just seen at that stand, there's some blue stuff going on, right? But you can't remember an exact image. It's really confusing, but it's expensive, and that photographer, again, has decided I'm going to use every single square centimeter to show everything that I've got. Similarly, over here. Now, this is my setup at a bridal show that I did in London. It was called Brides, the Show, which is a very high-end show targeting a certain demographic. And obviously, I don't live in London, so I had to carry everything with me. And this is exactly the setup that I had. This is building the stand. Now, first of all, when you are choosing your location, one of the most important things to do when you're choosing your location, have a look and see who's around you. Because behind me over here is Suzanne Neville, a dress designer. In front of me was MAC Cosmetics, where they do trials for the brides. Now I'm thinking, hold on, I need to be next to Suzanne Neville because I want to shoot her dresses for catalog and for portfolio. And if MAC Cosmetics is right in front of me, there's going to be queues of bridesmaids and brides lining up to have their makeup done. They're just going to be standing there, and I'll be able to attract them. So first of all, where you are positioned is really important. When I was shooting the shot that I was going to use for my background in the desert here, as I was shooting it, I knew this is going to be my signature image for the next year in terms of my advertising. I took a picture of the desert floor so that I printed it on a carpet so that when you walk into my stand, it feels like you're walking on the desert floor. This is the backdrop that was pre-printed, and that's how my stand looks. One image, destination anywhere. So don't ask me, do you travel? Because I'm already telling you, destination anywhere. All of these creases I steamed out, so don't judge me on the creases there. And on the table that I had in front of me were postcards, like that big, A5 postcards on the one side, and on the back of that was that. Brett Florence, destination anywhere. I'm not even saying I'm a photographer. Prada. That's it. A lot of the times at a bridal show, you'll get mum and daughter coming to the bridal show because it's a really nice bonding experience. The bride will walk past, you'll see my one picture behind me, because you can remember what picture you saw, right? One picture behind me. She'll walk past, you'll see it, and it's designed to attract the bride. She'll look at it. If she likes it, she'll come and chat. If she doesn't like it, move on. Because I haven't got time to speak to people who don't want to book me, who don't look at a picture and go, wow, let's chat. You're only there for 3 days, 17 hours. They come, they sit down. As they sit down, I give the bride one album. On my table is those postcards and one album. They sit down, they start to have a look, and in that one album are pictures like this. And the bride is going, oh my gosh, these are so beautiful. And the mum says, what are you looking at? And I say to the mum, no, mum, you don't want to see this. No. Hold on a sec. And I go and I pull out a separate album that I have specifically designed to target the mum. Okay. So there's mum looking at one album. There's daughter looking at the other album. What is the mum looking at? So the daughter is going, oh my gosh, these are so beautiful. The mum is going, oh my gosh, these are so beautiful. Both of them are saying exactly the same thing about two totally different products. And they are justifying why I'm going to be their photographer. Sometimes you'll have the mum who's there because her daughter or her son or whatever living abroad, they're coming home to get married. She phones her daughter and says, oh, by the way, there's a wedding exhibition next week. Would you like me to go and have a look and see if I can get some suppliers for you? She's thinking, really? My mom's going to go and have a look at, okay, sure, mom, that'll be lovely. Off you go. The mom goes, the mom comes to see me, and I'm just showing her family stuff. And I'm showing her everything that resonates with the mom. The mom goes home. she Skypes the daughter or she FaceTimes the daughter. She says, sweetheart, I found the most amazing photographer. What a nice young man. He's so lovely. He will take the most beautiful pictures at your wedding. Go and have a look at his website. And the daughter's thinking, really? The daughter goes to the website. What's on the website? All of this kind of stuff. The daughter's like, my mom likes this. That's amazing. I got such a cool mom. Oh, mom, I love him. He's an amazing photographer. The mom's like, yeah, I told you. How? I'm 3/4 of the way in. So your website is designed to attract the bride. And when you're doing things like this, understand that there are other people that you can target that will validate that decision. So, your website, coming onto your website. If we had to talk about the social media aspect of things, Facebook and Twitter specifically, I think Twitter is, for me personally, my opinion is it's not really relevant to my business. Facebook, yes, but it's a generational thing that, I mean, I do teenage workshops. I teach teenage photography, photography to teenagers. And I did a workshop the other day at Nikon House in Johannesburg. There were 12 of them. One of them was on Facebook. And that's an age group 12 to 18 years old. It's still very relevant, but I know in the UAE, it's all about Instagram. Anyway, Facebook and Twitter, one of the first things that you see is your profile picture. So please, guys, think very, very carefully about what your profile picture is saying. Prestige, trust, alarm, rebellion, all of those things. Now, I'm going to show you a picture. You will laugh because of the background to what we've been speaking about here. But this guy is one of my best friends. And he knows that I use his profile picture in my demonstrations and in my workshops. I would go to war with this guy. He is like, he's the most amazing person that you've ever come across. So don't laugh too much. Okay? These are his profile pictures on Facebook. Now, he thinks he looks pretty cool, and he does. Another one of my mates. Who said that is cool? Okay, why did you say that? Wow, look at all that gear. Hey? Part of the gear. All right? What that does, okay, what are you thinking? Showing off? But some of you are thinking, I wonder what lens that is. Some of you are thinking that. For other people, it's creating a barrier between you and the photographer, between you and the personality. So there's a barrier, yeah. It is a nice lens. It's a 600, right? Okay, now, what these people are doing, this guy here is a mate of mine, Craig Kileski. He shoots for sports magazines and Red Bull. Now, it works for him because his target market, they want to know how much gear you got. If I'm photographing weddings and families, it's an emotional event. They don't really care what gear I have. What they want to know is, are we going to have a good time? So successful wedding photographers, like this one here, and this one here, we're going to have so much fun. You and I are going to be best friends. You've got trust and passion working over here. No camera to be seen. But there's an emotional connection that you're making. So I tried this, and there we go. that's my attempt at, we're going to have so much fun. We're going to be best friends. So your profile picture is so, so important. When it comes to Instagram, I think you guys know a lot more about Instagram than what I do. But in terms of thinking a little deeper about what you post and when you post it is really important. So I do a lot of behind the scenes stuff, mainly because I want to show people what I do. And behind the scenes images, a lot of the times, get more interest than the actual final image. So if I post something like this, and then I post that, people are like, wow, that's amazing, that's really cool, and I get a lot of interest. I also post, every now and again, I post some personal stuff, whether it's my running or my coffee addiction. Now, I'm posting that because the coffee side of things, it's pretty trendy to be a coffee connoisseur, right? So I go and I do a barista course. Now I'm a registered barista. I'm not that obsessed about coffee, but it's a cool story. So I do it to add to the brand. And if I'm here in Dubai, Cafe Rider. Does anyone know where it is? Where? Umsike. Yeah, that's right. But what's the industrial area called? Al Quoz. Yeah, section 2. Okay, so I mean, how cool is that chameleon there? And there's a motorbike because it's Cafe Rider. Then I'm putting up a wedding there. Here I'm speaking for Nikon, and here I'm showing that other brands trust me enough to be an ambassador for their brands. Here I've got me meeting a client, saying, oh, I had a really cool meeting with a recent client, and then I write an article about how to meet a client, because I'm doing that for my photography education business. Now, this section over here, in the UAE, at what time of the year do most people get engaged? In the winter time. So that's December, January. It's New Year as well, okay? So here it is for New Year. Happy New Year, everyone. Fireworks and all that kind of stuff. And you'll see I go to the next page as well. Sorry, this is, okay, here is that shot there, and then Happy New Year and all of that. I'm just going to go back to that one. When people get engaged and they post on Instagram, what hashtags are they using? Hashtag engaged. Hashtag he asked the question. Hashtag I said yes. Hashtag soon to be Mrs. Hashtag wedding coming soon. All that kind of stuff, right? What are we posting? Hashtag wedding photographer. Hashtag why? At that time of the year, I post loads of engagement pictures. Even stuff I shot 2 years ago. Because I know at that time of the year, loads of people have gotten engaged, and they're going to be posting that and popping those hashtags in. So hashtag, you know what I'm talking about. All right. Then I'm also going to put in some stuff. This is some community work that I did in Kenya for Philips. I'm going to put that in as well. The community work that I do for Philips, I do enjoy doing it, and I do feel that I am giving back to the community. But I'm also doing it for marketing purposes. You know, I'm like, oh, wow, he's such a cool guy. He gives up his own time to go to Kenya and go and do. But it's a cool experience. And as I'm a runner, I take one picture of me running in Kenya. Literally, it was for 100 meters. And then I can tell my mates that I'm at a training camp in Kenya. You know, it's that kind of thing as well. But here I am shooting. So Philips, the lighting company, have put in solar-powered lighting at football fields. And here I am shooting a kid. There, the Philips lighting over there. And I'm showing people how you can shoot really close to the ground with a monopod. And I write a little article about that. There's the community lighting center at night. I am going to put some of my personal stuff in. So when I'm on holiday, I'm going to show you. I'm on holiday in a cool place. The reason I'm going to show you that is because at that time of the year, all the other wedding photographers are so busy, and they see, oh, hold on, Brett's skiing in Italy. How does he manage that? Oh, let me go to his website. Oh, he runs courses. I want to learn from him how to get the lifestyle that he has and I get people on my courses. So I don't post that to show my friends I'm on holiday. My real friends know that I'm on holiday. And that is all what I want the world to see. Because you see that and you go, come on, I'm snowed under with this wedding photography business of mine. I've got 8 weddings in the next 6 weeks. This is, I'm in over my head. Here's this guy on holiday. Come on. So everything has purpose and is carefully calculated before posting it. Right. Then we have word of mouth. So we did print advertising, bridal shows, website and social media. Now we're doing word of mouth. Now, word of mouth. So many people say, oh, I don't need to advertise. My business runs by word of mouth. Everyone tells, every time I do a shoot, everyone goes and tells all their friends, and I don't need to advertise. Let me tell you about word of mouth. If you think about people with a lower income, the less fortunate, the lower end of the market, if you think about the disparity between rich and poor, so if you've got rich people and you've got poor people, basically you've got rich people and you've got poor people. These are aerial photographs taken by a South African photographer, really showcasing the difference between rich and poor. And if you think about the difference between rich people and poor people, in the poorer communities, everyone's on top of each other, everyone knows each other's business, everyone speaks to each other. If I'm quickly going to go into town to go and do something, I can leave my kids with you. You'll look after my kids for a while. Our kids are all playing together in the street. Next time you want to go, I'll look after the kids. The community all look after each other. They all know each other's business, and they all look after each other. As soon as, if you think about people with less income, their houses kind of look like this. There are no fences, well, there are burglar guards here, but less security. That's the kind of living that you're looking at. As soon as you start going higher up on the economic ladder or scale, so the walls start to go up as well. You don't really talk to your neighbors. In fact, you're probably suing your neighbor because their leaves are falling on your grass. And you're having a bit of a conflict with them. You don't talk to them, you don't like them, you don't want to know them. The walls go up. Really, really difficult to get into that house and to find that target market. So understanding that word of mouth for a higher end market is not really that effective. For a middle market and a lower end market, cool, word of mouth is great. But you have to understand that if you're shooting for a higher end bride, and not all of them are like this. So this is my opinion, and I know that people have a lot to say. You know, you can say one sentence and it's taken out of context. So what I'm going to say now, please understand that I think that there are a lot of nice rich people, and not all people with disposable income think like this. But the higher up on the economic scale you get, weddings become competitions. And it's not really about two people getting together. It is, but it's also a sign of wealth, it's a sign of opulence, and it's look at my Jimmy Choo shoes, look at my Christian Louboutin shoes, look at my Vera Wang dress, my Tom Ford suit, all that kind of thing, right? If you ask somebody with disposable income, wow, that dress looks amazing, where did you get it from? She's like, this old thing, I can't remember, I don't know, Paris, Milan, I don't know, can't remember. She doesn't want you to have what she has. Just like it's going to happen with wedding photography. She's not going to want her friend to have the same photographer that she has. Because in a year's time, when her friend gets married, I'm going to be better than what I was when I shot her wedding. So in fact, her friend's going to get something that's better than her. So you think, I shot this amazing wedding for the perfect client. You think, I'm set. That's fantastic. I don't never have to do any marketing ever again because she's going to go tell everyone about me. No. It's way harder to market to the higher end client. It's much more rewarding than fishing in the small pond with the fish getting smaller and smaller. You have to put in the effort to go to a different location where there are less fishermen but bigger fish, and sometimes you come back with nothing, sometimes you come back with a fish can feed your family for a month. But understanding that word of mouth does not work in a higher end market. The way you get to her friends and family, because those people are your target market. Her friends and family are your target market. So the way you get to them is either doing a same-day slideshow where you show pictures that you shot at the wedding, like after the speeches, you put up a same-day slideshow, or you could have a situation where as the clients are coming into the reception, bang, you take pictures, you print on the day into frames, and you deliver the frames straight to your perfect target market. And you sit there and you chat. Hey, hi, how you doing? Here's a picture that I took of you a little bit earlier on. Well, you know, how do you know the bride and groom? Let's have a conversation. Oh, by the way, here's my business card. That's how you're going to get to their friends and family. And I know for some cultures you're not going to be able to do a same-day slideshow, but I'm talking about thinking now how to target a higher-end client. Oh, I just put this slide in because I thought it was quite funny, where a friend of mine, I saw that she was tagged on a photograph on Facebook. My fellow, and it's a suburb in Durban, in Johannesburg, I don't want to say because I don't want to offend the people that live there. It's not the most wealthy suburb. My fellow, who may enjoy benefiting from 33 Rand a kilogram for chicken fillets, I did promise I'd post it for you. So here you go. Off you go and have fun. Pick and pay 33 Rand for chicken fillets. Rich people are going to do that because they don't really care. And they don't want to help. Well, it's not that they don't want to help their friends and family, but it's not top of mind. Whereas people in the middle income, low income, if they find a bargain, they go tell all their mates. So understand that word of mouth, be very, very careful about word of mouth. So this last half hour is probably the most important half hour, because marketing to the bride or marketing to the bride and groom, marketing to the client is expensive. Use bridal shows, Facebook advertising, print advertising. It's expensive, and you are actually only targeting people who got engaged in the last month. Because if she got engaged 3 months ago, she's already booked her wedding photographer. So you're only really looking at a small demographic of the market. So marketing to the industry, that is the key to success. And this is where your question comes in, when you were asking about the fact that you can't post pictures. Marketing to the industry is what you need to do. Now, when I say marketing to the industry, on the day of the wedding, you be one of the vendors or the suppliers. In America, a supplier is a drug dealer. So I'm not saying go and be a supplier. You need to be a vendor. You need to be one of the people that are working at the weddings that you want to work with. So be nice to the other people. Be nice to the DJ. Be nice to the florist. Be nice to the makeup artist. Every single person that's involved there. You want to be the person that they want to work with. You want them to recommend you. Now, how do you go about doing that? Not just about being a nice guy. Hey, hi, how you doing? You know, anyone can just be a nice guy. You need to start taking that a little step further. Because becoming industry approved is so important. If the industry is recommending you, it holds so much more legitimacy. Because let's say, for example, let's just take coffee, for instance. If I didn't know anything about coffee, and I'm just making this up as I go along. If I didn't know anything about coffee, but I knew my friend really knew a lot about coffee, I'm going to go to the coolest, trendiest coffee shop, and I'm going to go ask the guy behind the counter, the guy who's sipping the coffee in the back there. I'm going to say to him, I've got a friend who really likes coffee. I'm happy to spend whatever I want to spend. Can you tell me what is the best coffee that you recommend? Which coffee did you have this morning? If some other customer comes in and says, oh, I think this coffee is the best, I'm like, hey, you keep quiet. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the industry expert. So this part is word of mouth. I don't want to know what people like me drank this morning. I want to know what the industry expert drank this morning. You say to me, this is the best coffee you've ever produced. I'll be like, thank you very much, take my money. And I trust you because you're on that side of the counter. So if your brides or your brides and grooms are going around to wedding venues, wedding coordinators, florists, hair and makeup artists, and they're chatting to them, and those people are recommending you, you're starting to build legitimacy. Because I have a situation where the wedding coordinator from the Oyster Box, 5-star, absolutely amazing wedding venue, whether she is writing to her client and saying, hi Cal, I just wanted to mention that Brett Florence is quite simply the Rolls-Royce of photographers. Nikon says, Brett Florence is this and this and this. The Oyster Box says, Brett Florence is simply the Rolls-Royce of photography. I even have other photographers recommending me. So I have a network of photographers that I recommend and they recommend me. So that then makes me industry approved, because the industry is saying, you need to use this guy. Because people buy from people that they trust. So if people on that side of the counter, which are trusted by the client, says Brett Florence is the guy, then they're going to trust that person's opinion. And if you've got a little diagram here of trust and credibility, if you have built that trust in the industry and people are recommending you and validating the decision to make you, then you're already in this zone over here. Okay? When you're in the plus one. If you've got credibility, now credibility is the part where you've got your portfolio, you've got your advertising, you've got a body of work that is going to elevate you. Now you in this zone over here. You're +1, +1. You're in this zone over here. It's all happening for you. You could have trust and no credibility, where you've only just entered the market, but everybody likes you and likes working with you. You could still get work. No trust, no credibility, no work. You could have credibility, a great portfolio, a great body of work, but you don't have the trust element. You're sitting here in this area over here. This is where you want to be. And that's how you do it. In terms of your credibility, your portfolio, your body of work, your experience, all that kind of stuff. And then you need to build the trust. How do you build the trust? At a wedding where this florist, lovely lady, targeting the same market that I'm targeting, I see her doing all her decor stuff over here, and there she's like, oh, I need to take a picture, and she starts taking pictures. This is the shot that she took. It is funny, but we shouldn't laugh because we can't do flowers like her. Okay? So I take the same bouquet, the same table centerpiece, that's what I shoot. And I send the images to her. I'm shooting stuff at the wedding that the bride and groom are never going to get. They don't care about it. I'm shooting details specifically for the florist. And I give them those pictures. I know that you have to get permission from the client and all that kind of thing. But you do it in a way where you email the client and you say, hi there, I'm going to take care of all the images that your suppliers are asking you for. Don't worry, I'll do that. I'll take that burden off your plate, making it sound like you're doing her a favor. Meanwhile, it's the biggest favor you're doing yourself. Makeup artist. There she is taking a photograph of the client. There's my picture. Dress designer. This dress designer, Stephen Khalil, I think he's got like, I don't know, 800,000 followers on Instagram. That's the type of image that he has on his Instagram, where he's in the showroom, the brides come in for a fitting, there's clothes lying around, there's shoes lying around, there's everything lying around, and he's just taking a snap from his phone. In fact, you can see him over here, taking a snap with his phone over there. Okay, that's cool. I send each person that was involved like a media pack where I've got a Dropbox link and I'll say, okay, these are high res, these are medium res, these are for Facebook, here's a Facebook cover, and these are for Instagram. On the Instagram side, I then put my logo where I've made it square, so I know it's going to go on Instagram. That's why it's got an Instagram folder. Got my logo in the right place because this is his Instagram account. And you can see here, shot in his studio, shot in his studio, shot in his studio. Somebody gave that to him. Beautiful shot. Somebody gave that to him. It's okay. It's not fantastic. It's a nice shot. Why have these people not even put their branding on it? That photograph there for me, I think 25,000 likes. I've never had that on my own Instagram account. I've got more likes from that because I put my name on it. Well, because I put my name on it, I've got a whole lot of new followers. And his target market is exactly my target market. If I look at his work and the couples that he attracts, I want his target market. So that's what I'm going to do. What more can I do? Take it one step further rather than just sending them a media pack of images. What else could I do? Yeah, I can connect with him. He hasn't got time to talk to me though. I'm like, hi, I'm Brett. He's like, yeah. Okay, and it's not a bad, I'm not dismissing you because you're thinking and you're talking about that. You would do that in a local situation. This guy's from, okay, let me put context. This guy's from Australia. Wedding was here in Dubai. I'm from South Africa. Okay. So when you're talking about let's connect, I'm coming to that in a moment, but what you would do is for a wedding coordinator, go and have coffee with them. Just sit there and have a coffee with them. If you do your own post-production, you haven't got time for that. But if you allow yourself that time, I go and sit and have coffee with a florist, just to be with the florist. And I get recommended by them all the time. What more can I do rather than just sending images? A whole album. I can send them a physical album. So this guy, Stephen Khalil, in Melbourne, in Australia, I get a sample album made. Sample albums, when you get them made from your printing company, you normally get 50% discount on a sample album. This is a sample album. I get one made, beautiful camel-colored leather suede on the outside, matches the whole desert theme, and I just courier it straight to him. It just arrives at his office. And this album is specifically designed to showcase the dress. So it would look like this. I take his logo from the website and I put it on the first page. So as you open, this is a double page spread, right? As you open it, this is what we have. And really, I'm showcasing the dress. And at the end, there's just my logo. Close, off I send it to him. When it arrives at his studio in Melbourne, what's he going to do? He's going to pick it up, throw it in the dustbin. It's this big, beautifully put together, the best possible prestige, the best possible paper, the most expensive album that I can get made to send to him as a sample. It's on his coffee table in his Melbourne studio with the exact perfect target market that I'm trying to attract. If I'm in a place, I shot a person's wedding here, family, who is not my target market because he's family, right? Family and friends. You either do it for free or you do it at full price. Did it for free. Not my target market. Don't make it too much of a big deal about the wedding. But the next day, I go out and I shoot exactly what I want to promote my work. So images like this and like that. Now, where do I get models? I can get. You just go into Facebook, find a model group, pay a model to go and do this, you've got models. Where do I get the dress from? You can rent it, yes? I would love for Stephen Khalil to send me a dress, but let's go back 20 minutes to when I was at the bridal exhibition and MAC Cosmetics was in front of me, and who was behind me? Suzanne Neville. So when I was there for 3 days, I'm chatting to Suzanne Neville. I see that the first day I see that she's there, she's having a cup of green tea with a squeeze of lemon. When I have my break, I go off, I come back, and I've got a cup of tea with a squeeze of lemon. There you go, Suzanne. I saw you looked a little bit tired and a bit thirsty. No, don't say she looked tired. That's not going to work. I saw you look a little bit thirsty there. You've been speaking to a lot of people. There's a cup of tea for you. Off you go. I've got 3 days to make friends with her. And then I can say, I've got this amazing opportunity. I'm going to go and shoot in the gorgeous Dubai desert. Can I take 2 or 3 of your dresses with? And I'm going to go and shoot in the desert. I do that. I send her pictures. And I can't send her an album because I've only shot 3 dresses. Can't really make a full album from that. What can I do? I make a big print, this big, framed beautifully, and I have it couriered. Thank you so much for letting me use your dresses for the shoot. And I get the letter back. Hi Brett, thank you so much for the picture. It's stunning. What a lovely surprise. We'll definitely put it up in one of our shops. Thanks again, and best wishes, Catherine, Global Head of PR and Marketing for the Suzanne Neville Group. That's how you get in to people that have influence. So when people say to me, that wedding show that you went to, how many weddings did you book? Doesn't really matter. I'm mates with Suzanne Neville now. That's really what I came away with from that bridal exhibition. She puts it up on her Instagram, and okay, not as much as Stephen Khalil, but amazing shot of Heather in the Dubai desert, photographed by the wonderfully talented Brett Florence. Wonderfully talented, as said by Suzanne Neville. So all of this, can you see how all of it eventually ends up with me having a brand that has prestige and alarm, or prestige and mystique, but it's all part of a plan. I don't randomly just take pictures and hope I'm going to get a client. If I start to get to know somebody and they're in a local area, let's just take it, say for example, the florist. I shoot a wedding where this florist was the florist at the wedding, and she's done some beautiful flowers for the florist for the wedding. Obviously, I'm going to send her pictures. What more can I do? Maybe an album. What more can I do? We need to start taking it personal. So I say to her, by the way, Carolyn, on Sunday, I'm shooting some family photographs down at the beach. I've got a spare half an hour. Bring your family. Let's do a little family shoot for you. Now we're going on the personal level, and I know from her personality, family is so, so important. So I shoot for Carolyn, the florist, and she puts up on Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is. This picture sums up these two in a glance. Missing these two of mine, and I've just wormed my way into her heart. In a nice way. I'm not manipulating, because it's all with good intent. But even if you are the best photographer, she's going to recommend me. Because I've taken pictures of her family and I've built that personal relationship with her. What if she doesn't have kids? What if she doesn't have a family? Then I would do something like buy a voucher for her to go to a spa for the day. Manicure, pedicure, something like that. If she's not into that, maybe I pay for her and her husband to go out to dinner. Or maybe I get her a bottle of perfume. But it's got to be like from a personal perspective. Because Ginny from the Oyster Box, if I send her pictures, not really going to make a big difference in her life. She will recommend me, but that's all work. She goes home and she's, you know, a normal person at home. So whenever I can, I take her out to lunch. Or I'll get her a really nice bottle of perfume. Now, not that it's a payment or a bribe, but I've invested in her from a personal perspective. So that's what you need to look at in terms of the people that are involved in the wedding industry, building relationships with those people. So let's just say, for example, the dress designers. If they want shoots done, you go and do shoots for them. The makeup artists, the hairdressers. So you don't have to target the bride with your pictures that you've shot at weddings. You need to target the industry so they recommend you. You shoot those people's weddings, they're happy. Everyone's a winner. So you don't have to have, in your case, when you're talking about the cultural aspects, you don't have to have a fantastic portfolio with all these gorgeous weddings on it, because you're going to get legitimacy and credibility from within the industry by relationships that you've built within the industry. This is a message from Carolyn, whose family I just shot. Brett, you've made my day from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. These are magical. It is truly an honor to work and interact with you the past week. Thank you for your time, your professionalism, and the gift of your art. It has been a pleasure. What did I do? I was just a nice guy. I gave her pictures. I took pictures of her family for half an hour. And you can see how much she likes me. And she likes me, that means she's going to recommend me. She hasn't even seen the pictures from the wedding that I shot with her. She's only seen the pictures of her flowers. She hasn't seen the pictures from the entire wedding. And she's recommending me. That's how you do it. How do you get into the industry? How do you make friends with people that perhaps are already targeting the higher end market and you want to infiltrate that? You collaborate. This is a behind the scenes shot of what I did for this advert that I was making. I got the best hair and makeup artist possible at the time, and I paid them. Or I say to them, let's work together on this. If I've got a brand that's strong enough that will want her to work with me. If I'm a newcomer, I'll say, listen, to a dress designer, I'm looking for a dress. He's like, who are you? Well, I'm a new person in the industry. I can hire a dress from you, or I can do it in return for pictures. Somehow wangle your way in. If you have to pay, that's school fees. You've got to pay to be a dentist, right? You've got to pay to go to university to become a dentist. You've got to pay, if you have to pay, you've got to pay to get the the model, hair and makeup, florist, dress designer, all that kind of thing. That was the final image that we did over there. I used this image as the back screen for when I did a bridal exhibition. And when I was finished that bridal exhibition, I gave it to the hair and makeup artist, and they put it in their studio. So you walk up the stairs into their studio, and it's boom. It's huge. What am I going to do with that? You know, I had it at the bridal exhibition, and bridal exhibition's over, and I said to the makeup artist, there we go, it's a gift for you. Oh, wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much. Now it's in her showroom where all the perfect target market clients go to have their hair and makeup done. And she's going to be talking about me and saying, this is the guy. And it's not because I'm a great photographer. It's because I've been building relationships.
One of the main reasons why I do this in the morning is just to get the guys onto my side. Oh, well, it's not going to get better than that. Right, let's rotate. I'm Brett Florence, destination wedding photographer, Nikon ambassador, and educator. I'm going to be taking you through one entire wedding with a twist. Clap? No? Mm-hmm. This one is in Dubai. Right. There it is, iced to me. There it is, beautiful, gorgeous. Don't worry about the mess at all. I know exactly what I'm doing. I've done this before. I will take you through the gear that I'm packing. 70 to 200, 2.8. How to meet the client. Hello.
I've never done this before. How are you?
Lovely to see you. Very cool. The engagement session. You're coming to the front of the boat. Okay. Looking up straight over my head. I'm going to be shooting from over there. The wedding. I think it's really important to do this after the makeup artist is done rather than bothering her while she's doing it. I'm going to be making customized albums for each groomsman. It's nice to get Andrew's reaction. You see him shooting through glasses and flowers and things. It's in over here, hands in the pockets, and you're standing there looking over there that way. So I'm just going to pick up the veil and shoot through the veil, perhaps just to see what it looks like. A post-wedding session. How I put the albums together, and then the delivery of the final product. One wedding, destination Dubai.
So this video and the very first video that you saw are training videos that I have up on my website. The first one is like 11 hours long. It's my 3-day wedding photography workshop, all recorded. I mean, tonight we only had 2 and a bit hours, but it's my 3-day entire wedding photography workshop, 11 hours long. And then this one here was one wedding from beginning to end, as you saw, and that is 5 hours long. Online, it would cost about $230. For the HEPA people, you guys here have got a different deal. The people who are watching online at the moment, if you get those videos, use the code HEPA and you'll get a 50% discount. Tonight, tonight, it gets even better. Tonight, if you want to, I have got some over here. For those people who are here right now, 400 dirhams, which is like a third of the price. If you are interested, then please stick around afterwards. I will be here for a little while longer doing questions and answers. But yeah, right now, online, 50% discount. And if you want to get it here, then you can talk to me afterwards. So, 8:30 on the dot. Do we have any questions or answers, or even if you want to challenge me on something, Even if you're sitting there going, you're talking rubbish. Talk to me. Let's have a conversation, because right now we're here in this place where we're all here for the same reason. We want to elevate the industry. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it was very interesting, really. I mean,
thank you so much.
I really enjoyed it.
Good.
Okay, there is one common question I think so many people are asking, especially when it comes to wedding photography, and that is how to charge.
How to charge?
Yeah.
Okay, so without dismissing you, we've just done that 2 days ago with Nikon School. We had a 4-hour lecture about charging. So basically, I can bring up the lecture, and I'll do it for 2 minutes. So you've got your input costs, you've got fixed input costs, and you have variable input costs, depending on how. Let me just bring up the slides quickly. Right, how much do you charge? Okay, so you've got fixed costs and variable costs. Very quickly, I'm going to go through this. In terms of your advertising, that's bridal shows, bridal exhibitions, your Facebook advertising, your training, and you're going to spend 400 dirhams tonight, so there's your training that you're going to be putting on there. Your computer hardware, your software, all that kind of stuff. Let's look at this as an example, okay? So on average, all those things work out to that amount of money per month. If you are shooting 3 weddings a month, and I know in the summer you're not going to be doing that, but I'm saying over the whole year, if you are shooting 3 weddings a month, so 36 weddings a year, it's kind of like a decent amount. You don't really want to be shooting 2, but you don't want to be shooting 60 either. So let's say 36. You've got a weekend off on average every month. Those are your fixed costs, costing each wedding per wedding. You're doing 3 a month, so the actual album costs you $300 in terms of printing, getting the album ready. An assistant or a second shooter, $100. Office, telephone, advertising. Advertising, it costs you $100 per client to get, because it was $300 a month. So you're buying each client for $100. In total, cost of sales to put that album in front of the bride, $880. That's how much it's going to cost you to shoot that wedding. Now, we could have a big debate about the next slide, but I'm talking about how I run my business, and it's my opinion, and if you do it differently, fantastic. The amount of time that you spend on one wedding. You've got the pre-wedding meeting that you have, the chat, the conversation, the emails, the phone calls. You go and have a look at the venue, the actual wedding, maybe 10 hours, maybe 14, whatever, post-production, all of that. In total, 70 hours. Now, sorry, that was my clinching slide. In total, if you are charging $1,500, $1,500. I've been told that there are a lot of people that charge $1,000, $1,500, sometimes even $200, sometimes $5,000. So it depends on, it's all swings and roundabouts. If you are charging $1,500, $1,500 to shoot a wedding, your profit is about $700, because now we've got VAT to deal with. Okay, so instead of so it's 880, so it's not 720 profit. Let's call it 700. But my next slide, the maths is a little bit wrong. But you're spending 70 hours to make $700. It's $12 an hour. It's $2,000 a month, which basically works out to $24,000 a year. My son's tennis academy costs me 15,000 euros a year. If I'm shooting 3 weddings a month at $1,500 per wedding, there's no ways I can afford that. To somebody living in a very poor country with very low overheads, that's a lot of money. So it's all relative. but it costs me $830 to put that album in front of her. Whatever else I charge on top of that is profit. Is profit. So I need to work out how much is my lifestyle going to cost me, because with respect, sir, your lifestyle is different to my lifestyle, okay? So if I say I need to make $10,000 a month profit for my lifestyle, my desired lifestyle, that means, let's call it 9,000, because then I can go 333. That means that I need to make a profit of $3,000 after tax per wedding. So let's just say I live in the Netherlands, which I do, I live in Amsterdam, 50% tax. So I need to make $6,000 per wedding profit so that I can get 3,000 out to have 10,000, 9,000 a month, which means that I have to charge at least $6,880 for that wedding. Now, if you are saying people won't pay $6,680, they will if your brand, your product, and your service resonates with that specific client. Now, what I'm urging people not to do, don't drop your price, lift your game. Any other questions? Okay. It doesn't matter how many photos. No, because the target market I'm targeting, that's the target market going to eat at Gordon Ramsay's restaurant. How much money does a starter cost at Gordon Ramsay's restaurant at Atlantis? I'm asking you. How much do you think a starter costs? You haven't been there. Just guess. 100 dirhams for one starter. How big is it? Doesn't matter how many pictures I'm giving them. It's not. I'm not targeting people that go to the spare rib place and eat as many ribs as they can for 20 dirham. It's a different target market. Less is more. Not to the extent that I'm giving them 4 pictures. Yeah, but my average wedding, the average amount of guests at a wedding that I shoot, 150. For you, that's immediate family. So it's very different. I'll shoot a Hindu wedding or a Muslim wedding in Durban, 3,000 people. I'm going to give them a lot more pictures than I'm going to give the client who has 150 guests at their wedding. So it's not about how many pictures you give them, it's about fulfilling their emotional expectations and their what resonates with them. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Confidence. So the question is, what are the main challenges that people face at the moment? So one of them is confidence. And somebody spoke to me about it at the break, where she was saying, I don't think I'll ever be good enough. And I've had people at a workshop break down in tears after the first day going, this is overwhelming and I don't think I'll ever be good enough. And immediately I took the pictures that person had just shot and I went and showed the model and the bride. I said, here we go, acting as if I'd shot them. Say, oh, here we go, what do you think of these? And she was like, oh my gosh, these are amazing, these are so beautiful. And the lady that had been crying her eyes out because she thought that she'll never be good enough, she like looked at this and goes like, no way, no way. I don't mean to get philosophical, I don't mean to get too deep about this. You are much better than you think you are. Really. And confidence is a lot to do with perception. You think I'm confident? Okay, I look like it, okay? This is what I do. I'm not going to say it's entertainment, But you came here with certain emotional expectations. There's pressure on me. With expectations comes pressure. I could either stand here, show you pretty pictures, and you walk away going, wow, that guy shoots some nice pictures. And tomorrow you go like, what did I actually learn? Or you could leave tonight having not remembered any pictures I've taken. You might remember 2 or 3 that are standout images, but you've walked away here with implementable techniques that you can use that will change your business. Now, of course I was nervous before I started this. Of course I am. I'm nervous before every single gig that I do, because as I grow as an educator, people talk about me. Have you heard that guy speak? Wow, he's inspirational. I have to be inspirational every single time I get up and stand in front of people, because this might be the first time you've heard me talk. But I've been doing this for 11 years. And every single time I do it, I have to nail it. Because it would be devastating for me if I walked out past here and I heard you saying to your friend, well, that was a waste of time. I would be gutted. So this presentation that I've just done here right now, I didn't just make it this morning. You know, we've had communication for weeks now, right? Back and forth, and you can see that there's effort put in here. There's a thought process. There's an ebb and a flow. So it's preparation, and then I get up here and I speak. Now, I'm not asking for sympathy from you, but as soon as this is over, you go home, I go back to my hotel room, I'm alone. I'm going from this incredible high and this amazing feeling to crashing in a hotel room. Tomorrow morning I wake up at 4 o'clock to get on a plane. I walk into the airport and nobody cares how many people I inspired the night before. Nobody cares who I am. Go and stand over here, put your arms out like this. You know, it's lonely. Because right now, the last 3 hours, I've just been giving. So it's draining for me. I'm really not complaining about my job. I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm so emotionally drained, and this just takes it out of me, because I see these construction workers here. If I want to complain about tired, you just got to remember these guys. That's tired. That's hot. That's a hard day's work. Wedding photography is not really a hard day's work. That is a hard day's work. So when you're talking about confidence, I come up here and I could have had a fight with my wife at 4 o'clock. You know, like a radio DJ, he's going to be happy all the time, right? Just a normal human being. I'm just a normal guy. And I'm playing a role. Right now you're playing the role of student. I'm playing the role of teacher. And it's just like at a school play. So confidence is a major obstacle. And then obviously the marketing elements is quite a thing, because creative people generally don't do too well at the business side of things. And business side of people don't do too well at the creative. Fortunately for me, I learned how to hustle, and then I taught myself how to be creative. Yes, sir.
How do you, have you tried this particular strategies in any other genre of photography? And if so, you have tried it means, what kind of
family
steps?
Photography. Yeah, so I do it, I implement this strategy in family photography as well, but I'm targeting a different market when I shoot families. So when I photograph families, I photograph for the middle market and the lower end market, not so much the lower end market, because whatever we're doing here, we're selling luxury products. Photography is not bread and milk. You're not going to die if you don't have a family photograph, but you are going to die if you don't eat. So let's call it the middle market. I target the middle market when I'm shooting families, because I do a lot more of them at a smaller margin. So my strategy for targeting that is different to the strategy for targeting high-end wedding market. So each genre that I'm specifically targeting, I think about the market and I think about how to approach that market. Now, word of mouth works well in the middle market. So for families, basically what I do is I have a system where I come to your house and I photograph your family for free on condition that you find 5 other families that are going to pay. So you go around, you tell all your mates, I found this amazing photographer. He's going to come to my house. Now there's word of mouth happening. We're all going to come to my house on Friday, and half an hour per family, and 500 dirhams per family. I don't know if that's a lot of money or not so much money, but I'm just saying 500 dirhams per family. I'll shoot 6 families at his house in the morning, and then I'll go to your house in the afternoon, so I'm shooting 12 families a day. The 2 of you are for free, so 10 families are paying me 500 dirham per family. So I'm making 5,000 dirhams a day. I've got costs. I still have to pay my retoucher to retouch each image, 360 pictures for the day. So I'm coming out with probably 3,000. Is that a lot? Is it? Yeah. Okay. I'm just asking for this region. Yeah. So that's the kind of thing that I would do. So I'm targeting families from a word of mouth perspective, and a different strategy for targeting higher end clients. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, sir. You don't look like you need a mic.
Hi, how you doing?
Very good.
Why aren't you replicating yourself and training studios or to work in your image? So the busier you get,
yes,
the less work you do.
I had a chat with somebody here a little bit earlier on about that. The mistake I made right in the beginning, it depends on what you want. If you want to eventually run a studio and have photographers working underneath you, then I don't recommend you start with your name, Brett Florence Photography. You must start with ABC Photographers, something like that you can sell one day. And also, the client isn't expecting Brett Florence. So instead of doing that, because I only realized that 15 years in, because I did exactly what a lot of people do, just fumble your way through until you realize, hold on, I can't carry on like this. So I would recommend that if you are thinking about expanding your studio and you want other people to work underneath you, then sure, but go under a generic name. For me personally, I would rather target high-end exclusive weddings that I shoot only, and then instead of having photographers underneath me that I have to manage, because all I'm really doing then is admin. Okay? I would rather put my energies into what I'm doing now, teaching, doing workshops for other photographers to elevate their brands, putting out instructional videos, that kind of thing. So I'm focusing on the education side of things rather than building a wedding photography studio empire. But if you want to do that, then you, for some people who have gone in too far, 5 years down the line, and you're thinking, okay, well, I can't really start from scratch, have yours, but then open a new one. Open a new business, specifically targeting weddings for people. It's not going to be the ultra luxury market, because at that end of the game, people are not going to go and buy a dress from H&M to get married in. They're going to go and get a Vera Wang or an Armani or there's one specific brand name. So that's going to resonate with them. But if you want to have a company that has 5 or 6 wedding photographers working for you, fantastic, but different name, and it's going to be admin. A lot of admin. Thank you, sir. Okay, guys, one more question? Any more? No more questions. Yes, sir. Yes. Go and look at my fashion work. My fashion work is studio work there. But I really put out the stuff that I want to shoot. So destination weddings is really where I'm going. The older I get, the more niche I want to get. And I only shoot 15 weddings a year. So, Yeah, I'm really targeting high-end luxury weddings for people that are getting married abroad. That's going to be the differential between me and my studio work. My studio work is, yeah, clothing catalogs, you know. Okay, oh no, that's it, no more questions. Okay, guys, so please remember, I will be around here for probably another 15, 20 minutes. If you'd like to buy those videos, so it's 17 hours of education in total for 400 dirham. I take card. Come and chat to me afterwards, cash or card. Thank you so much to HIPA for having me here. It has been an absolute honor and a privilege, and hopefully I'll be back to talk about other, yes, yeah, we can do a cool practical thing. That'll be.
Okay, everyone, I think it was one of the most interesting lectures in the whole season. That's my personal opinion. I think we needed such a lecture to market ourselves, to know the strategy, what to do with our pictures. Thank you very much. It was really very, very encouraging, very nice for everyone. We would like to thank you also and give you something to remember. Please, people, we want to take group photo if you don't mind.